Hi there, everyone. I am Jenn Walker Wall, and you are listening to Careers at the End of the World. I am happy to have you here today. And today I'm going to be talking about something that I have been working on behind the scenes and yet simultaneously has been very visible in my work for quite some time. And that is our job search community. So, as opposed to our private services, right, where you hire us to write your resume for you, or you hire us as a coach and strategist to job search alongside you in a one-on-one strategy sessions. What we do in our job search community is bring people together to job search together using shared resources and shared programming and building community around people who are professionals in transition. We are currently enrolling our fall job search community cohort for October 16th, when another cohort season will kick off. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my experience working with folks in a job search community, why I think it's such a valuable asset, who benefits from being in a job search community, and what you can expect if you join us. And all of this is to say, how can a job search community help you bolster your job search efforts? Really, what we want to help you do with every service that we offer here is to take your job search from either an idea, a hope, a wish, or even something you've started, but that feels like it's just not clicking, not working in quite the right way, and help you figure out what resources, strategy, tactics you might need to elevate and optimize your efforts so that when you are applying to jobs, when you are reaching out and building connections and having conversations, that work is fruitful. That work is helpful. Okay. That work leads to interviews and opportunities. That's the real goal. Now, I have been doing this work for 10 years. And I started off like most coaching businesses do, working with people one-on-one. And then in 2018, we launched our first group cohort. So it wasn't a evergreen community where people stayed. It was a 3-month long program. And one of the inspiration for starting this program is that the only sort of group component I had previously before starting the community was that I would often host job search workshops here where I live in Boston. That's really where this whole Work Wonders thing got its start. So I would host these workshops. They were anywhere from like, I remember my first one had like 5 people. I rented like the tiniest conference room because I wasn't sure if anyone was going to come. But eventually I would like get a conference room that was full of like 25 or 30 people. And I would give a lot of what I teach in how to job search at the end of the world. So, really about our job search framework, what we're seeing at a high level, where there's opportunities to kind of make improvements in your own job search. I always sold those out. They were really successful for me. And many of those people turned into friends and clients. So, that was such a fun way to kind of grow this business from the very get go. But one of the things I learned when I was hosting those workshops, and some of you listening might have attended some of those, one of the things I learned is that I have a lot to offer as someone who's spent part of my career in hiring, part of my career working actively with job seekers and professionals in transition. But also, there's other things that other people can offer you. They don't need expertise in the job search process. We've got that covered. But there were things that were happening in that workshop that were like, oh, you want to work at X organization? Like I previously worked there. Let me introduce you to people on my team. Or, oh, you're having trouble writing cover letters. Like here's a resource I like to use. There was all this like energy and momentum amongst the people who were participating in the workshop. And they ended up being energized, better resourced, more excited and ready to go than I could offer on my own, right? Like, not to say I think my workshops were fun, as fun as I can make the job search. I aim to make it fun and engaging. We had a good time, but there's something that having a group of like minded, values oriented people who are willing to share their experience, their insight, their resources, their network with you that I can't offer on my own, right? Like that's something that really only a community can offer. And so after that experience, because I had a few workshops and I was like, there's really something to this. I really need to figure out what to do with this. We launched Work Wonders and Co., which is now the job search community. We've changed the name a couple of times here. And basically, the underpinning of this is that you should not job search alone. Your job search needs and deserves support. Having the structure and accountability and resources of a community means you can avoid overwhelm and wasted time by following a fairly structured it's loose, there's room for flexibility, but there's a structure that we've laid out for folks who participate to execute a way to move from point A to point B and onward, right? So you can save yourself a lot of time by accessing this resource and accessing our framework. We've also made sure that there's components, multiple components, asynchronous and live ways to learn how to more effectively apply online. Something I hear a lot in my line of work, even from people who have my job, is that no one gets a job applying online. I have no ability to speak to that perspective at all. Not only do clients get traction applying online all the time, that is the most common way that our clients get jobs. When I was working in hiring, guess where I hired them from? I hired them from online applicants. So that's not to say you shouldn't network or networking never works, but in my experience, online applications work more than networking does, and it often works faster. So what we do is really work with people to make sure that they're clear on their target jobs so that they're applying to jobs that they're a good fit for and setting themselves up for success. And then we make sure that these folks have assets, just like we do in our private services, right? We make sure you have a resume, we make sure you have a cover letter, we make sure you have a LinkedIn profile. You know, we cover the basics, and I've also spent a lot of time looking at people's websites and portfolios. And we do all this so that the work that you do with these assets is fruitful, yields results, right? That's what we want. We're not out here doing work for fun. We're doing as little work as possible and being really strategic with these assets. And that's how I'm talking about them on purpose. Your resume is an asset. LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile, that's an asset. Can help make this process a lot easier for you. So we have resources and we have ways to kind of offer that feedback so that people can move their job search forward. We also make it really easy to break down your goals in a way that's like manageable and easy to execute. Okay. People come into this process and their expectations of themselves and the experience of the process is honestly very high, very intense. We're not going to have a job at the end of this because if you're not already job searching, the job search is simply going to require more time. Our cohort experiences are 8 weeks long, right? And so what that means is we're going to use those 8 weeks. We're going to share with you curriculum. We're going to share with you tools. We're going to make sure you join us for live calls. We even at this point in our community will have private sessions as part of that offering. So you can choose from 1 or 2 private strategy sessions to get even deeper and have more personalized support. And we do all of this because that 8-week container, we are going to change what you're doing and what you're doing it with, right? We're going to change the inputs of the process. Most people benefit tremendously from being consistent and being strategic here, right? And so that means we want to look at what you're already doing. Are you doing a lot and it's not working? Are you doing nothing and you're ready to get started? Or have you been wanting to, move forward, but just emailing yourselves jobs for weeks? Like wherever you sort of fall in the job search spectrum, we want to move you along. We want to move you forward. Okay. And everyone joins with their own goals and with their own goals and on their own timelines. So wherever you are in the process is totally fine. We also offer, if you can't tell, like extraordinarily detailed feedback on these main assets. Okay. Your resume, your cover letter, your portfolio, your LinkedIn profile, all these things. And there's a few reasons for that. You already heard me say how important these things are to actually getting traction in the job search. And I 100% stand by that. But what I've learned in teaching people how to optimize for these is that this process gives you the tools you need to help you feel qualified enough to pursue the jobs, confident enough to pursue the jobs that you actually want. It changes people's behavior often to have assets that they feel excited about using. It will make talking about yourself, whether you're networking or interviewing, a lot easier. When you're going through the resume revision process, it's like an excavation. We're kind of like digging through layers of soil, and then we need to put together some cohesive narratives. And that is a really hard thing to do on your own. So this is something we spend a lot of time here focusing on, because not only do they help you get traction, they help you build confidence to actually execute this process. And we want both of those things in our process. This is not one of those experiences where you just watch some videos and work on your own. I mean, you certainly can do that. It would probably be good if you did do that. But by design, we have live components, right? So where you can plug in and you can join a job search office hours call where people share updates and ask questions and hold themselves accountable to their own goals. You can join a co-working session with our resume writer and actually get some accountability and like have an adult study hall and get stuff done, which is one of the bigger challenges for working adults, most adults, to really get stuff done. If you're ready to put in work that will lead to results, if you're ready to take ownership over your career, over your transition process, and you are interested in participating with and receiving support from and offering support to other mission-driven professionals, our job search community could be a really good match. I just finished re-recording all of the new modules. I update the videos and workbooks every 2 years. And that seems to be like a good time frame. Like things change before then, but nothing that impacts the tactics of what we're doing. In fact, the meat and potatoes of what we do has not really shifted at all. We really focus on having good assets and good habits, and that helps people get where they want to go more often than not. One of the things that we think about a lot is, how do we make this easy? How do we make this as not taxing as possible on people who are probably already busy, stressed out, overwhelmed? And so one of the pieces that sort of this line of thinking led us to is offering both live and asynchronous types of support. So what we have that I'm really proud of and that I think everyone should take advantage of is something called rapid reviews. So there's an opportunity to submit your assets, your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, really anything you want me to look at, want our team to look at. There's an opportunity for you to submit that for us to review. We have a little form for it. You send us the link to your target job, you send us your resume, or you send us something else and you tell us what you're looking for. And we will respond with feedback. Oftentimes, that feedback looks like a little Loom video recording telling you how to optimize your resume, tailor it for that specific role, or giving some kind of specific advice, or brainstorming with you on a challenge, or giving you some options to consider, right? And that video gets delivered to you via DM right in our private community. So whether you get one or two private strategy sessions, you also get personalized feedback via this rapid review process. Because resumes are such a strong tool for most of our clients, this is one of the most valuable pieces that we offer, is this sort of ongoing work to make sure that what people are doing for jobs, especially things that feel like exciting and enthusiastic, or if you're just starting, right, and you haven't touched your resume in 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it might be, submitting that right away and getting some direction. Like, you don't even have to watch modules. You certainly don't Google if you sign up to work with us. We'll set you straight with your resume. That much I can say for sure. We also, as I referenced here, have a community channel, right? So we have a platform that we use called Circle. So you'll often hear us refer to our circle. That's what we mean. And it's sort of like a Facebook group meets Slack. So what I want people to take away is that we're not running a Facebook group. We have our own platform. I actually really like Circle. We do our live calls there. They record there. We post when we do recordings, we post them there for people to see. All of our curriculum is there. And of course, there's also opportunities for people to ask questions, chat. We often run like monthly accountability threads to help people check in and troubleshoot and see how things are going as the weeks go on. So I think that is another asynchronous aspect that, we're not on there 24/7, but it can be used by folks 24/7. So you can go ahead and post questions, share resources, share events. all kinds of things get posted and shared there regularly. So that is a very, very good resource for folks. And you can do it on your own time. It's not something that you need to participate in every single day. A couple times a week is probably completely sufficient. But then we also have our office hours. And I like to tell this story that I envisioned the office hours being, a place where or my team and I shared our job search knowledge with you. And I do think that that's partly what happens because people bring questions or they get stuck or they want feedback. So I do think my background and expertise is helpful. But what I've really noticed is like actually that's a perfect place for people to check in. It's a perfect place for people to say, gosh, I'm really struggling this week, or oh my gosh, I just got an offer, sometimes in the same call. And people get to share information and perspective and resources and contacts with each other. It's as close as we get to like reproducing what happened in those workshops, right? And I think that can make such a difference. People join up and co-work together, they become accountability buddies, they check in on each other, they offer all kinds of things that, again, I alone could simply not manage. So that is one of my favorite things about the community and another huge value add. We do tend to record these calls when 3 or more people show up. And so that's just a nice way. And usually when we're running a cohort, we do have 3 or more, but we have like what I'll refer to as an off season where we're not running active cohorts and we have folks who've just continued with us. And the group gets small and the calls get smaller. But once we're running a cohort, there's several people in a call. It's not, people often ask me this. It's not like there's 30 people in a call. I think when we kick off, it's on the higher end, but I would say someplace between like 4 and 6 is like typical. Sometimes we have a little bit more than that, but it's not like an enormous call at all. And also importantly, we have a roadmap. Okay. We have resources, tools, videos, workbooks. I created something called Work Words, which people really like because it's basically, a consolidated version of my life's work, as I like to say. There's 250 templates, prompts, scripts, questions, what to ask at an informational interview, templates to reach out to folks and do some networking, responding, to communication that happens in the job search process. People really like that resource because it's just a bunch of done for you scripts. And you just kind of sort of like fill in the blanks. It's like Mad Libs, but for your career. So I'm really proud of that. It's a very effective tool and resource. And of course, we have these more in-depth videos and modules. I work really hard to counteract this idea that there's one single way to do things. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you there's 4 or 5 ways that work really, really well. Okay. You need to be applying to jobs. You need to be talking to people if you want a job. Okay. Like there's no real getting around that, but there's a lot of different ways to execute on that. There's a lot of different ways to begin that work. For some people, applying for a job is absolutely terrifying. Reaching out to one person to network is absolutely terrifying. Now, some people do it no problem, but one of the things I try to do is give people options. And so in this most recent re-record, I've really made sure to take like a very suggestive tone to kind of lay out some options to remind people there's no one way to do this. Okay. The best way is the one you're actually going to do. And so you'll find that as you work your way through our resources, I will often say, if you're feeling stuck, if you've got some questions, if you're not sure what to do, please post in Circle or join us in a live call. That makes a big difference. Like you can join us and still job search alone. You have to show up either asynchronously or synchronously to let us help you. That's how you're going to get the most bang for your buck, literally and figuratively, out of our job search community. The other thing I like to say, because I tend to attract people who are good students, okay? So former good students, this is for you. You can take every workshop I've recorded for you. You can complete every worksheet and every prompt and not have a job as a result of that. So I like to use the roadmap and the resources as like, there's 2 main ways those get utilized, 2 different kind of client types. If a client joins us and is already actively job searching, but just needs to like make some tweaks and, improve some assets and continue on their search, I'll often say to them like, watch this part or look at this resource or do this, right? Do this exercise, something like that. Give very pointed directions on what to access because Completing job search school, so to speak, is not what gets you a job. Job searching is what gets you a job. The second type of person who benefits from having that structure is someone who really needs the structure to move forward and hasn't largely started their job search. And so having a point A and then a B and then a C is really helpful for some people. But eventually you need to get to the point where you are really executing on your job search. So everything we do is action oriented, is flexible, is a suggestion. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to do things, but you should know that if you're going to work with us, you're probably going to be closer to applying for jobs than you think, because that's the process that we've laid out here. Now, I've already told you a lot about the resumes and cover letters and LinkedIn of it all, but let me just share a couple of other things that I think you can plan on cultivating while you're with us. We have clarity generating exercises. We have done for you, resume bullet points so that you can move through this process efficiently and really understand the value that you have to offer. I do love resumes for resume's sake, but I also really like resumes for transformation's sake. And seeing how people react when their resume is highlighting their qualifications, emphasizing the results that they've produced, even if they don't have a ton of metrics, that's okay, really leaves people much more excited about this, much clearer about the direction that they want to go. So if you want to job search clearly and efficiently and feel good about the process, you would probably benefit from being part of our job search community. Our job search community is also a really helpful container for relationship building and tending. So if you are someone who constantly tells yourself, you should be doing that or you mean to be doing that, but you're struggling to make it a priority, we will help you move in that direction, because honestly, relationships are kind of at the core of everything we do here. Investing a lot of time and energy into your professional ecosystem is an investment that will benefit you in the short term and in the long term. And we have templates and scripts to make it easy. We have we have a video that will help you figure out who you need to reach out to and how to start to tackle that. Plus, we have ways to kind of help you troubleshoot as you go. So, this is something that we take very seriously. We think it's a very good investment. And if it's been on your to do list, but you've struggled to kind of cross it off, then the job search community could be right for you. Another piece of the job search that we often get to coach and work with clients on is the interview process and the negotiation process. Now, telling people what you have to offer in a clear and concise way is no small order. I mean, it is often something that people struggle with. So we have resources to help people manage that. But also, it's really important that you be prepared to advocate for yourself when it comes into the negotiation process. Now, we train our clients to think about, negotiating and positioning yourself from the get-go. So from the very first point of contact, not just in the negotiation phase. So we'll help you start to think about that. If you're having trouble thinking about what you should ask for, how to ask for your salary, then this is for you. And often we cover this even if people aren't interviewing or negotiating in that 8-week time frame. Like, we often still help people come up with a script, a conversation, set of talking points so that they're able to tackle this part. It's a really important part, right? Like, it's the cherry on top of the cake. It could be make or break for you. It may not be in terms of the negotiation, but we want people to be prepared and to know what to expect. You have reasonable expectations, have helpful talking points, and be ready to advocate for themselves when the time comes. So I'm saying we a lot. I'm talking about my team. What I want to say for sure is that you will see Jenn O'Neill in there. Now, Jenn O'Neill is my best friend, but also she's a former work colleague. We have worked together for many, many years, and she's a co-facilitator in our program. She hosts our career come-in calls right now. So you should check those out if with her. And she's actually a social work by training. I always like to think of, if I bring the recruiter perspective to the table, Jenn brings the hiring manager perspective. Jenn is really great at helping people get motivated, get clear, and stay committed to their goals. She's an excellent accountability buddy, but she's mine. You can borrow her if you join the job search community, because she is very, very good at stuff like that. Another person you'll see is Nicole, who runs the show. Quite frankly, she runs the show. She's been working with me for many years. Fun fact, Nicole and I actually went to high school together, and she has helped me run this community, run this business for like 6 or 7 years now. If you have any technical issues, if you have any billing issues, if you have Any questions at all that are related to the nitty-gritty, Nicole's probably going to be your go-to. And then of course we have Shelby, who in addition to supporting our resume writing services here, hosts our co-working calls. So Shelby hosts calls where you can drop in and actually get some work done. We've staffed them with someone who has job search knowledge, who has resume knowledge. So she will be able to talk through with you what is going on and how to be effective. So even if you know you have work to do, but you're not quite sure what to do or how to approach it, you're going to get a little bit of support, and then you're going to have a container of time to actually get stuff done, which, as I've said before and will continue saying, is usually one of the biggest challenges for people. Yes, the job search will probably be challenging, but it has been our belief for the last 10 years that job searching with the right approach and the right support will make your work a lot easier and a lot more effective. And when you bring your job search goals and challenges to our community, we will make sure that you have the resources and the support and the tools to turn your vision into a reality. And we think you'll have fun along the way. Now, there's a few different ways to join. We have 2 options, plus we have payment plans. So you can choose between an option that includes 1 or 2 private strategy sessions. There's no way to join without talking to me or a member of my team. And that's really important to me because the job search is hard right now, and we want to be working with you privately in some capacity because people are bringing a lot of significant challenges and questions, and we want to make sure that people have some private support right from the get-go. So please join and plan on having a call with me or someone on my team. If you join in this fall cohort, you will be speaking to me directly. I'm going to be taking all of those calls. So you get to choose between 1 or 2, and then you get to choose between one payment or a payment plan. So we do have payment plans. I do think that the job search community, which is included in both Align, which is a private job search strategy service, and Career Alchemy, which is another private job search strategy service that we offer, you'll get full access to everything in the job search community if you work with us in those private service options. So if you're listening to this and you're like, this sounds good, but I definitely want more than 1 or 2 private strategy sessions, please take a look at our private services. You will still get access to all of this for the duration of the service that you purchase. But if you like working in communities and groups and this model works well for you, which I hear from people a lot, if you think that this is sufficient in terms of support and you're like, yes, 1 or 2 calls would do it and I'll show up and do the work for 8 weeks, that sounds excellent. Or if this works better for your budget than a private strategy service, then I think those are all signs that the job search community is a good fit for you. As soon as you register, you will get access to our community platform. The new modules will be ready by our kickoff on October 16th, and you'll be able to book your strategy session with me right away. We're not wasting any time. We're getting right down to it. And if you look at some of the testimonials that I have on my LinkedIn profile, you'll see people talk about this group. And in some cases, you'll see just how quickly people made progress by using that first strategy session. There's a couple people coming to mind that we really just needed to think about their resume in a different way than we had previously. And we made those changes and they were off and running. Now, this is a challenging job market, more so than it was a couple of years ago, but we can certainly do the work to make your job search better in the same amount of time. We don't need a good job market for that. If you're ready to take your job search and career seriously, if you are excited to roll up your sleeves and make some changes and do things a little differently than you have in the past, if you enjoy learning with and from other mission-driven professionals, if you are excited to get feedback and eyeballs on your work and you feel confident that you can run with that feedback and iterate and work better with some guidance and direction, you're going to be a good fit for our job search community. Bonus points if you like tarot and astrology and a little magic rolled up in there, but if you don't, that's okay. You can skip that bonus call. A lot of people do like it though, so I want to make sure we share it. Let me tell you what this job search community can't do. If you do not put in time between calls outside of our calls, if you're not implementing, you cannot just show up to calls and think that that's going to get you a job. I'll tell you right now that it won't. So you have to be willing to work towards this on your own with direction, with guidance, but nonetheless on your own. If you think you're someone who needs a lot more one-on-one support, like this is not intended to replicate the experience of a private strategy service. If you're looking for that kind of more traditional career coaching experience, consider one of the options that is available to private clients, right? We've got 3 different options. 2 of them include community access. So if you don't want to lose access to this and you want this to be part of your experience, you are welcome to do exactly that. Those 2 services, again, are Align and Career Alchemy. So I'll link to those in the show notes so that you know which of those are going to also give you access to this. Another person that's not right for the job search community is someone who comes in and has already done everything. I don't encounter this too often, but every once in a while I do. And so this is just a reminder, really, that you may have to do things more than once or experiment in order to get a little bit of traction. So if you come in and you're not willing to take any feedback and you're not really engaged in brainstorming creative ways to take action together, there might not be anything I can do for you. I can't do anything for the person who's already done it all. If you decided that your job search is doomed, it's going to be doomed. I don't think it's doomed. I don't really think there's such thing as a doomed job search, but people have to be willing to take action and potentially do things they've already done, potentially do things that are different and new. And if you're not willing to do that, then I don't think you'd be a good match for the community. There's very lovely, kind, thoughtful, great community oriented people that I work with on a regular basis who just don't have the capacity to show up in a group context, need the efficiency and the personalization of a private strategy session. So again, I am not offering this as an alternative to a private service per se. It could be a very good alternative if you are okay with the constraints and boundaries of this. And if you are really looking for private support or you just don't want to engage in the group component, you could skip all the office hours calls and just take advantage of rapid reviews. But there may be better ways to spend your time and money, including just looking at a service we have called Ignite, which is a 3-session bundle essentially. And so if you prefer working privately, that would be an option for you. And that option doesn't include access to the community. So just something to keep in mind. People love to ask me a lot of questions, which is very reasonable. And so some of these questions I can answer, and some I really can only kind of ballpark. Okay. How long will your job search take? Great question. I don't know. I don't know how long your job search will take. I can tell you that most of our clients are looking at a 6 to 9 month process. People in tech, journalism, other industries really impacted by layoffs and, transformation that's been going on can take longer. I know nobody wants to hear that, but I'm going to be real with you. So a lot of this depends on your target function and titles and industry. And is it a remote only search? Are you open to hybrid? Because that can be a night and day scenario. I don't know how long your job search is going to take. My job isn't really to know that. My job is to help it happen sooner than it would if you didn't work with me. So that's what I would like to do. Now, what happens if you can't make it to a live call or you can't participate in a rapid review? The first thing I want to say is that it would probably be bananas and unnecessary to take advantage of every single thing every time it's offered. So we have tried to structure this so that people have options and ways to plug in. Right now, as at the time of recording, I offer 2 job search office hours calls a month. Do you need to come to both? Not necessarily. You can come when you have questions. You can come when you're struggling. You can come when you need some extra accountability. You will almost certainly not need every rapid review opportunity touch point, but 2 or 3 would probably help you make incredible headway on the quality of your resume. So I don't think you need to take advantage of everything to get value from this. It is not designed for you to do everything. It's designed so that people have multiple touch points for support. That's why there's so many ways to engage with us and to join us live and asynchronously, but it's not my expectation that you do this every single week, crossing off everything we offer. Like I said, job search school does not get you the job. Job searching gets you the job. So that's where we want you to spend your time. Another common question is, what happens if I don't have a job in 8 weeks and I still want support? If you want support after the initial 8-week cohort experience, We have a month-to-month option for folks who are looking for ongoing access to the community. You get all the same things. You get to participate in other cohorts. About half of folks who participate in the cohort experience continue on a month-to-month basis for the accountability, for the support, because asking questions and getting feedback is helpful and helps keep them engaged in the process. And half graduate will go on and complete their job search independently or outside of our community. And there's no pressure either way. We offer the registration link with the month-to-month option as we're winding down, and people who want to stay in are welcome to take advantage of that. And everyone else, we send our very best. So you've got some options on that front. I want to invite you to really think about how you can take yourself and your job search seriously. We're at the end of a year. It's a bananas year. Having a community to help hold you accountable and hold you engaged and help you find ways to make progress in this world, in this timeline, I think that's going to be helpful between now and the end of the year. We want you to feel confident about your next steps. We want you to have support and resources and tools on your schedule available to you asynchronously, right? Like something that works on your schedule. We want you to have those live calls and peers for camaraderie and to broaden your strength, broaden your scope of support. Built-in networking, right? You can give yourself just a little bit of credit for the networking work that you want to do just by joining and participating in our cohort. And perhaps most importantly, you will very quickly get feedback, direction, and guidance to iterate and optimize your job search to help set you up for success, which first looks like consistency on your part and then starts looking like interviews and then starts looking like offers. If you are ready to take your job search full throttle, okay, to move it to the priority list, or if you want to start 2025 looking for a new job, this is the perfect time to join us. Like you would be setting yourself up for success if you knew you had your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your target jobs clear, all of those assets ready to work for you. If you're not looking that far ahead and you want traction and support this year in 2024, this fall, please join us and take advantage of this offer to elevate the way you're currently working in your job search. If you are struggling, you do not have to struggle alone. If you're spinning your wheels, you don't have to figure this all out on your own. I am going to include the registration link in the show notes. We have 2 pricing plans. You can really choose the option that makes the most sense for your needs and your budget. As soon as you register, you'll get instant access to our community platform. All of our new content will be posted on October 16th. We're having a kickoff call on October 16th to help people figure out exactly what they need to do. And you'll be able to get on my calendar as soon as you book in here. So I want to encourage you to join us this fall, to stop spinning your wheels and to start doing things differently so that you can get different results. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I assume you know where to find me. If you're listening to this, you probably know where to find me, right? You can find me on Instagram. You can send me a DM there. I'm not going to lie, that's probably the least good way to reach me, the least best way. Definitely hit reply to any of my careers at the end of the world emails. That's probably the best way to reach me. I'm always in my email and I'm occasionally in my Instagram DMs, but you can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm over there much more frequently and on top of that situation. And check out the show notes for everything you'll need to figure out how to register, how to join us. And I look forward to seeing you. I should have said this sooner, I realize now. But if you are a former client, if you're a former client and you've already worked with us and you are getting ready to job search again, please reach out to me because we actually have a discounted way for you to join us if you'd like to come back for a little bit of a refresher. So former clients, this is open to you and we'll even give you a little bit of a discount if you'd like to come back and get some support. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your week and I'll talk to you soon.